But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the
shirt. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the 9x9. My name is Everett Delorme, joined as always by my gentleman friend to the south, Mr. Rob St. Clair. Rob, how we doing? How's Chicago these days?
Wonderful. Chicago's great. It's very warm this week. It's like one more week of fake summer. It's very nice.
Yeah. It's like I left my house this morning to go for a nice little walk, get a little coffee. I'm like, it's fall out. Gonna throw a nice little jacket on. No, bad idea. Too hot. I'm sweating. What? Like, why? It's October. This is the 9x9. This is the 81 square meters of the best football content on the internet. Rob, it's here. Club season is here. Honestly, I kind of prefer club season in some ways to international season. There's a lot less on the line for me, right? My emotions can handle it. I can just watch as an observer. There's not that mental turmoil of having your country go up against another, but also there's just way more drama, way more going on, so much volleyball to watch, and we are now basically in full swing. As you know, we got underway with the PlusLiga and the Superlega this weekend, and I think we're basically only waiting on the Bundesliga to be, gone all the way through.
Pretty much, and they even played their whatever the Bounce House Cup is, like sort of a preseason like Super Cup situation. So it's back. Club season is back. There's a faster turnaround than ever, and we're kind of falling into a rhythm here on the 9x9 as we just break down everything that happened all weekend and all week, and because there's volleyball going on constantly in all the different leagues all over the world. So I think we should start with men's Superlega because week 1 is in the books, and it was a spicy one. It is so good to have Superlega volleyball back. The Discord was popping off all day on Sunday. 6 matches, basically all at the same time. Most of them were very fun. I'd say really only like Perugia 3-dong in Catania and Piacenza 3-dong in Padova. Those are the only ones without any drama. But
the chat is the chat is already expecting me to go off about Monza.
Well, let's start there. Let's start there. Go for it.
Honestly, let's start there. Monza's really damn good. Monza's really damn good and really fun to watch. This also, they beat Lube twice last year. So this is something that's starting to happen a little bit. But yeah, Monza looked very, very good. Why my computer is just freaking out at me as I pull up the stats. Here we go. For me, it's just how they spread out that offense. But you've got 3 guys in double digits with Ran and Mar and Arthur Schwartz. Schwartz led the way with 17 points. I don't know who the commentator was on Saturday. He kept on calling him Schwark, which is like, you obviously have been watching volleyball if you're calling him Schwark. He was decidedly bad. It was very boring, but man, 59% attacking for Monza. They only made 1 unforced error.
That's ridiculous.
That to me was ridiculous. They were so efficient. This is a team that's rolling, and this is a team that we saw glimpses of it with Monza last year, and I think with the additions of Ran Takahashi and Eric Lepke out there with Arthur Schwartz on the right side, things are going to get scary out there for anyone playing against Monza.
Yeah, so there's a good reason why Cachopa found his way on the thumbnail of this episode, and that's because you set a team to 59% kills and sky high efficiency, probably pretty close to 50%, then you deserve a lot of credit. So that performance by Cachopa was sick. Arthur Schwartz, 14 for 22, 64% kills. Like, get real. That's above 50% efficiency for your first match of the season is insane. Ran Takahashi, even better, 10 for 15, no errors. Steven Marr, 10 for 18. The middles were good enough. Also 11 aces in 3 sets. That was an absolute clinic put on by Monza. And first of all, I hope that everybody watched our Superlega preview from last week that Everett and I did with Tommy Blizzard, and our PlusLiga preview that we did with Adanos, because there's so much content and so much sort of outlook for those teams that we talked about in those shows that I'm excited to already see how close we were, how accurate we were in our projections. And sure enough, we were dead right about Monza in terms of who we guessed their starters were going to be. We were right about Mar, Takahashi, and Schwartz as the 3 wings. And we were right about Cachopa being a monster and how good that team's offense could potentially be. And sure enough, like right out of the gates, unbelievable.
It's weird to say this, but it's fun to see what Kotopa can do with real hitters. After watching him struggle with the Brazilian national team all summer. On the flip side on this, Rob, Lube. Now we saw them come rough out of the gate last year, but this was bad. 25% hitting for Ivan Zaitsev, 29% for Adis Lagumdzija. Like that to me is where their problems lie. You bring in Lagumdzija to be your big dog on the right side to throw down some points, and he goes out there and lays an egg. 6 for 21, got blocked twice. And had an error. I mean, the only bright spot in this match offensively was, of course, Alex Nikolov, and he was back out there as a traditional left side, taking some reception reps, and he wasn't that either.
No, his reception numbers were okay, and he hit 11 for 17, which is spectacular, and was the only like productive server on Lube. So I was surprised to see him start over Marlon Yant, but clearly it worked. He certainly wasn't the problem, but they definitely missed Simone Anzani. I mean, Enrico Diamantini is definitely a downgrade while Anzani tries to get healthy, but yeah, this is not that dissimilar from the Lube we saw last year when it was kind of like a lottery of who was going to play at the wings and how are those players going to perform, especially on offense. And yeah, like you said, Zaitsev and Lagumdzija are just not good enough. But to me, it's fine. Lube's older team, a couple new pieces, slow start, whatever. I'm just more impressed by how good Monza looked in the first match. I think that Lube's going to be fine.
I do too. And I mean, like, once again, there was times last year, Rob, where you and I were both like, Lube's not making the finals this year. Like Lube might not even be a top 4 team. And of course they figured it out and went on that incredible run. But yeah, you're right. To me, this was all Monza. Like, this was Monza demonstrating their play style and really putting that pressure on Lube throughout the entirety of the match. And Lube just really wasn't there to handle it. They could not handle the pressure.
No, not yet. But first match day of 22, I do think Lube is going to be fine. But this was that was a statement game from Monza, and I was very impressed.
100%. Absolutely. Next up, Rob, let's chat about Modena versus Milano.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to call this one an upset because I think that these two teams are very close, but I would have thought that this one would have gone somewhat easily to Milano based off our preseason preview and what we saw last year. It was the other way around. Modena holding the fort at home, getting the job done, and getting that first win.
And they got stomped in the second set especially, and they were down 2-1 and had to bring it back. I mean, 25-12 in the second is a little bit embarrassing. And somebody in the chat already pointed out that was my first takeaway was Milano blocked 21 balls and lost this match.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's nuts. 21 stuff blocks, 10 from Matteo Piano. I don't know when the last time is I saw double-digit blocks from one player. That's absolutely ridiculous. 5 from Loser as well. 10.
That's 10. Crazy. But on the other side, I mean, serving for Milano, not that great. 3 for 18.
Nope.
3 aces, 18 errors. I mean, still not that great on the Modena side. 6 and 25. So I would say that's somewhat noticeable. But for me, the big thing for both of these teams was the lack of their right side contribution. Like, by the end of that match, you had Rieger Bears, who had come in for Peter Durlich on the right side, and then Davis Skiba ended up playing some right side in place of Maxim Shaposhkov, and that's who they won the match with. Like, Davis Skiba got subbed in the fourth Shaposhkov and stayed on through the fifth. So that's very interesting on the Modena side.
That is a little weird. Yeah, Sapochkov 16 for 32 with 11 errors in like 4.5 sets, blocked 7 times. And that's the crazy thing, is that when you're 7'3", the only, like, you should never be getting stuff blocked 7 times unless you're bringing the ball down into the block and not hitting the ball as high as you can. And that's nobody's fault but your own, unless Bruno's not setting him the ball high enough. And that didn't really look like the problem to me. So. But
that could be the case. I wasn't watching for that. I need to go back and watch it on the volley metrics.
Yeah, me too.
Line.
But I mean, Davi Skiba being a utility guy is actually something we saw when he played at Monza a little bit. There were times when Grozer got hurt 2 seasons ago that they needed to just throw someone on the right side, and Davi Skiba went in there and played fine. And yeah, sure enough, he kind of rescued the match for him. I also was really impressed by old man Osmani Wantarena. 14 for 26 attacking and passed the ball lights out. Phenomenal reception numbers, 46% perfect, 73% positive, no reception errors. That is brilliant. And if he can play that role, like that's not really what I was expecting as far as like Juan Torrena's contributions, but that was a huge help to a Modena team that needed him to do exactly that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he looked good even though throughout all five sets. We'll see if he can do it for an entire season. Is Modena playing any CEV this year? I don't think so. It's tough to say.
Yeah, no. I'm not sure. I doubt it because they didn't win a quarterfinal series, and they didn't like Monza ended up finishing 5th last year.
So they lost in that fifth place playoff. Yeah,
and Perugia 6th. So I would think that Monza might play Challenge Cup, and that's it. 7th at best. So yeah, Modena might not have to worry about that like CV Cup schedule they played last year.
Which is good for Modena,
for sure.
This is clearly a little bit of an older team. But going back to Shaposhkov, to me, this is why I think Verona was comfortable letting him go, because we saw that kind of he started off really, really hot. Like his beginning of the season was he was almost untouchable, and he really started to peter off as the year went on. And I'm really interested to see how he moves on. I don't know if it was necessarily the best move from Modena to go from Lugumja versus to Shaposhkov. I don't know what the situation is there. I don't know if but if they did let Lugumja go, Lugumja is a player that we know. Shaposhkov had a very good first season. Let's see if he can do it again this year.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I said during the preview last week is, as we talked about the sophomore slump, which is a pretty big deal, especially in the Superlega, is being 7'3" enough to overpower the sophomore slump, and I guess we'll have to see. I mean, but getting blocked that much is not a good sign. On the Milano side, this is, I mean, I'm sure this one stings a bit to block 21 balls and lose the match, but they did it entirely with their backup setter. This Nicola Zonta kid looked actually okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, their opposite production, both from Zierlich and Regers, was not good at all, and still they hung around decently well in this match. I mean, Yuki Ishikawa was pretty good. Matej Kaziski was okay. And at best, the middles were great. The opposites were not. And with their backup setter, you got a point out of this. This is not a bad thing for Milano. We'll see if their like opposite connection improves when Porro comes back. But as we know, that's probably his biggest weakness setting wise. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like the next time these two teams play. When these two teams play again in the second half of the season with a lot more volleyball under their belts, I think it could be a different match. It'll probably be similarly competitive, but I'm curious to see how that match differs from this one.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. To me, when I look at this Modena roster, it's not a roster that has much room for growth. Right, it's not a roster that I think has a really high ceiling. To me, I'm wondering why they kept Anton Brema on the bench, because like you've got so many Italians out there. Like Juan Torrena is technically is definitely an Italian. He played for their national team, so he's 100% nationalized. Sanguinetti is Italian. Stankovic is Italian. Rinaldi is Italian.
Federici is Italian.
Federici is Italian. Why don't you have Anton Brema in there? Unless he's injured, but he's getting subbed in. That is one of the areas that can get better. But when you look at this Milano team and what they can become, and I mean, it's very similar to the team that they had last year. The only big difference, of course, is no Jean-Patrice. So we'll see how Derlich and Rigas are able to figure it out.
Yeah, when they get Porro back, they'll be a little bit more complete. My personal favorite thing I've read about club season being back is that we get to watch Daddy Stankovic. Oh, true. So good to see him out there. He looks so good. And he had a good match.
Rob was sporting a half chub the entire time.
100%. I mean, Daddy is my hero. It was good to see him out there. He looks great.
All right, Rob. Which one do you want to chat about next?
I think we can skip Perugia and Piacenza's wins. But we should talk about Trentino, the reigning champions, needing 5 sets to beat Cisterna.
Yes,
it's a little weird. It was a little weird. They went down 2-0. It went down 2-1 rather. Trentino did completely dominate the fifth, 15-8. But Cisterna, kind of similar to last year, they, with very few expectations and a lot of unknowns, they kind of scrapped their way into being really competitive the first half of the year until teams start to figure them out. I think that's a little bit of what happened here. Teo 4 was good. So that was nice. 19 for 41. Good for him. Pavle Peric started it outside, kind of like we thought maybe he would. Pretty good, 16 for 38. And on the Trentino side, just a little bit sleepy until let's see who ended up waking up and really carrying them. Micheletto was very good, 16 for 27 with one error is excellent. And Lavia, 17 for 30 as well. Like if your wings are hitting that well, you really probably shouldn't be going to 5 with Cisterna.
No, but that to me is like I didn't watch this match, but that to me kind of shows that like Trentino had a better second half of the game, let's say, than the first half. It just looked like they were struggling. To me, I think we're going to see Trentino struggle because of the lack of Lorenzetti on the sidelines. Like that to me is that consistency has to be tied into him.
I do agree with that. Because like we said on the Superlega preview last week, this is mostly the same team. The only differences are Kozamernik in the middle and Rikliski on the right side. And like play style wise, that should still look like the Trentino that we're used to. And yeah, the biggest loss definitely is Coach Lorenzetti leaving to go to Perugia. Rikliski, by the way, he was okay. 15 for 33, 4 errors, pretty about 33% efficiency. That's fine. You don't really need any more or less than from Rikliski than that. So he certainly didn't contribute to them losing those sets that they lost.
But that's Rich Licky will never be the reason you lose the game.
Like nor will he ever be the reason why you win the game. And that's why I think his style fits well.
I would disagree with that a little bit. I think he's very standard, but I know you and I differ on that.
Yeah, we do. I'm not very high on Tricycle Man. I don't have that much more to say about this game, honestly. I think this is a pretty classic Cisterna punching above their weight class early in the season, and Trentino ends up being the better team.
For Cisterna, their team is always different at the beginning of the year. So you go in, you have no video on this team together.
You don't know anything about them.
You don't know who some of these guys are. Like Jordi Ramon Ferragut from Spain. Know nothing about this guy, but he dropped 21 points, so that's all right. He went 13 for 30 with 7 aces.
Yeah, that's what the people were saying last week when we previewed it, is that by far his best Farragut's best attribute is serving. Apparently he can tear the cover off the ball.
Yeah, he had 23 serves, 7 aces, only 5 errors. So that's really damn good. 7 aces in a 5-set match is huge.
That's awesome.
That right there. Yeah, I mean he had as many aces as Trentino as a team. So that's huge. So yeah, so I think that's exactly what we see. Like that's what we saw last year with Cisterna and Peter Durlich, right? Is that like you just don't know what to expect from these guys, and it takes a little bit to get a handle on them.
Our friend Kenny Diaper in the chat says Rikliski is the mid of mid, and I completely agree.
I disagree. All right. Anything else to chat about here from week 1 Superlega?
Yeah, we should talk about Verona versus Taranto a little bit, because Verona beat him. They beat him in 4. But I was most curious to see what they did lineup wise, and this was not even not even remotely close to what I expected, because you saw Rok Mozic and Axel Truchev on the outsides. I didn't really even know who that was, but like apparently Nomura Keita is not with the team yet. And actually Tommy Blizzard even told us that he wouldn't be playing the first couple games. But you have Donovan Zavaronok. Who even is Axel Truchev, and why is he starting over a player of Zavaronok's caliber? Don't understand that one. But it was really good to see Amin Esmail-Najad, 18 for 31 with 1 error in his Superlega debut. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And Amin has been such a question mark for us. Like he jumped onto the scene Vienna last summer. We were all like, yo, Iran's got a guy. Like Iran has a guy. And then he's just kind of he was very, 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 very average at the World Championships last year. And then just was okay this year. So very good to see him drop some numbers. I think Verona's going to be like someone needs to be on them with a camera crew, because they are going to be interesting. I would love to see inside of there, like Stoyachev leading guys like Amin and Nomura Keita. That's awesome. By the way, Axel Truchev is French, I believe. Yes, he is French.
Absolutely,
he's a 95. He's mostly played in the French league. Last year, he played in the Bulgarian league for their main team, Burgas. And yeah, now apparently he's good enough to play in the Superlega.
Well,
But out here getting the start.
Yeah, what is he do? I mean, his numbers were bad. Like, what is he doing starting over Donovan Javorona, who's been in the Superlega for like 3 years?
Stoichev.
Yes.
Say it with me, Rob.
Yes.
Stoichev, right? Where's Stoichev from? Bulgaria. Where did this man play last year? Bulgaria. Like this is the classic of like he probably just like walked into the gym or like one of his buddies called him up. Hey, we got this guy. He's really good in the Bulgarian league. Yeah, he does a really good job.
Yeah,
And Stoichev's
you
like,
should start.
I found the next one. I found the next one. You know what? He's probably going to do good for a few matches. He's probably going to do all right. And then of course we're going to have the Mads Ked Jensen effect going on over there. So
I would just hate. If I were a Verona fan, I would tear all of my hair out watching Stoichev make some of the decisions that he makes. I just don't get it. On the Taranto side, I was bummed to see Kyle Russell not get the start. He came in as a serving sub and served the ball great. I think he went on a run that helped them win the third set. And then he started it opposite in the fourth and wasn't as good. So that was a bit of a bummer. But Jeff Jendrick, man.
Jendrick.
13 for 17 attacking, no errors and 3 blocks. He led his team in scoring as a middle.
I love when middles do this. Like
Me
this
too.
is like Jendrick Landy?
Oh,
Does that work?
Oh man.
But that's the type of effect, right? When you're having that effect, like your team gets a good pass and everyone in the gym knows it's going to you and you still can't stop them, right?
That is a Robert Landis-Simon stat line.
He got 3 blocks as well. His serving wasn't as good, but he still had 13 serves, only 2 errors. So his numbers are all right there. So yeah, Jeff Jendrick, welcome to the Superlega, bug. Let's go.
Welcome to the Superlega. He has a chance to be like a top 5 middle in the league this year on a bad team, and
yeah.
I'm excited to see
for sure
because he's probably certainly as far as like national team potential goes. Jendrick should be Toronto's best player.
Yeah, for sure. Like they're like, I mean, he definitely has like the most quality like right now. And like especially coming from that American program that was just running in the summer, he's running at a high gear at the moment.
Yep, definitely.
Also, Lanza, 13 points, nice little 11 for 27, not too bad for the man with the hair.
Looks better on Instagram than he does on the court. Here are the standings after one match. Nothing crazy because it's only one match in. Oh, who do we got? Is the Super Cup this weekend or is it the weekend after? It's this weekend.
It's this weekend.
I guess it's like next week, sort of. It's Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So we might do a show. I bet our next episode, probably next Monday or Tuesday, will be before the Super Cup. So we'll preview it then. But so does that mean there's a full weekend of games on Saturday and Sunday? Yes, there is. Verona versus Modena Saturday. That's pretty good. Milano versus Piacenza Sunday. Monza versus Perugia Sunday.
And yes, like the Super Cup does start. It's goes down on Tuesday. Halloween, by the way. Perugia versus Trentino, and then Piacenza versus Lube. 5:30 Italian time for Perugia versus Trentino, 8:30 for Lube versus Piacenza.
Yep, and then the final will be next Wednesday. So yeah, we'll probably do a show before that so we can talk about this second round of Superlega games and preview that. All right, is that it for Italy? Where do you want to jump to next?
I think we should jump to the PlusLiga next.
Let's do it.
They got kicked off. What was it on Friday? And I mean, man, some of those teams, the PlusLiga is going to be such a marathon this year. Some of them have already played 2 games. Like there's a bunch of teams who have already played 2 games, including Zaxa and JW. They're the only 2 teams sitting at 2-0 so far this year. And I mean, some interesting results already from the first set of matches. Looking down at that third level there, Rob's pick to win the PlusLiga, Zavierci, gets off to a rough start with a 3-1 loss to Olsztyn, and then also Warszawa coming up with a big 3-1 win over last year's regular season champs in Resovia. Other than that, pretty normal stuff, I would say. Which one of these matches, if either, do you want to talk about?
We'll definitely talk about both of them. I mean, also, like we always say about the PlusLiga, because there's so many matches, so many teams, they're playing volleyball basically every day. And
Every
that
day.
includes
There's literally a match going on right now.
there is, and as a matter of fact, it's Charny Rodham versus Trefl Gdansk. First set was 39-37. So they're
Crazy.
And yeah, Gdansk is up 2-0. They won the first 39-37, which is ridiculous. So there's matches going on constantly. Yeah, we definitely got to talk about both Zavierce and Resovia losing their first games. After the Resovia loss, we saw TJ DeFalco on Instagram, who traditionally does not do particularly well with losing. He posted something like, "It's okay, we're going to be fine. It's very hard to beat a team who's been together for 2 months." So what it sounded like he was saying is Rosovia's been together for like 2 weeks because their guys were all playing national team, and Varshava's been together for a very long time, like all since the preseason. And while he's not wrong about that, that's not an excuse that I like to hear first match of the year. But we can look at the stats of this. DeFalco was very good, 43% efficiency, 18 for 30, and 19 points. He led his team. Let's see. How is Boyer? That's what I want to know.
Boyer.
Did Boyer even play?
He's not even on the roster.
Okay, well that answers that question.
He wasn't even there after France not even playing the Olympic qualifying tournament.
All right, that's
very interesting.
That's a little weird.
Was it last week? Was it last week that in our preview that Pavel told us that TJ DeFalco's is like the biggest in the PlusLiga ever?
The biggest contract? Yeah. Pavel said that. Somebody in our contracts, though, also said that might be Biniak this year making the most money, but maybe that's just for this year, and DeFalco has like the more lucrative long-term contract. Whatever it is, I'm not surprised at all that DeFalco is making a ton of money at Resovia, and Boyer, as our chat is telling us right now, is injured in training, which I actually didn't know. So thank you, chat, for that. So this Jakub Butsky guy, who we actually saw play a bit last year when Muzai was bad for Resovia, Butsky came in. He was fine, 12 for 21. Chebul, not good enough. He got benched for Yasin Luati. Kochanowski, very good. No surprise there. Who's the other middle? Quos, not so good. Just didn't really have that much of an impact. But on the Varshava side, Bartłomiej Bołądź in his Varshava debut, the big lefty, 17 for 25, 48% efficiency. Very, very nice.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, Varshava on the day, 54% efficiency, 61% hitting. That's very nasty in itself. And you just look at these numbers: Tilly with 16, Bolaj with 18, Shalpuk with 17. Even down the middle, Semeniuk had 13 and Rona had 8. So, like, this is a team that's going to be adding some top-level middle talent as well later on in the season as some of their guys coming back from injury. Is Warsaw like legit? Are they a top 4 team legit?
They are bare minimum 5th, and that's where they finished last year.
Yeah,
and
bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
But it's like this Warsaw team is very much it's just a collection of all the warmed leftovers. Like it's all of the guys who are just not so good enough. Like Furley is like not on the not the guy for the Polish national team. Shalpuk is the same thing. Grabelny, wasn't he Belgian before?
He's both Belgian and Polish. I'm
Polish.
Not sure which he counts for as far as PlusLiga goes. But yeah, and now DeFalco, and complaining on Instagram, actually does have a point. Every one of these guys is like the next guy outside the national team. Firle,
other than Tilly, of course.
But then his team didn't have to play Olympic qualifiers. So this team has been together for the entirety of the preseason, except for Bołądź, who got called at the last minute to be the backup opposite for Poland when Kurek couldn't go to Olympic quals. So somebody said in the chat, Firle completely ran circles around Fabian Žižka's setting. And if you've watched this channel before, that shouldn't surprise you at all. Our thoughts on Fabian Žižka have been abundantly
If you've watched
clear.
volleyball at all, you should be surprised.
Somebody says, and rightly so, Žižka looks like he spent the summer in the restaurants. That means he might be on the all Chungus team next to Irvin Ingapet.
Ingapet dropped 18 this weekend for Housekeeping, so
yeah. I'm impressed by Varshava. I think that Resovia will be just fine. It's classic first match of the year stuff. We should though talk about Olsztyn beating Zawiercie because that was both fun and very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Olshin coming in. I mean, it has to be pointed out. Who the hell is Sapinski? Cezary Sapinski. Alan Souza dropping 18. That's to be expected. I feel like Souza fits in nicely in Poland, where he's not undersized, but he's maybe a little bit undersized. He's very athletic, of course.
He's not undersized, but he's maybe a little bit undersized.
You know what I mean, though. Like he's yeah. Anyways, but yeah, Souza with 18, Sapinski with 13, Surgeon or Sapinski with 19, Surgeon.
He's a middle. And he went 16 for 16 attacking. 100% efficiency for a middle. Cezary Sapinski, who I personally have never heard of. And I don't know, it's on the show last week, wasn't even projecting him as the starter. And I mean, 16 for 16 plus a block, and 2 aces. That is ridiculous.
He's a 94. So this is not some he's like 29 years old. This is not some spry young chicken who's just bursting onto the scene. He's played for the past 5 or 6 years for Suwałki.
It's wild.
He's been playing for Suwałki since 2017.
16 for 16 is a completely ridiculous match. Like no matter who you are or where, that's insane. Sherzhen was good, 12 for 28 before he got hurt. He pulled an ab muscle, had to come out. We saw Manuel Armoa make his PlusLiga debut. That was pretty cool.
Love it.
Good to see Josh Tuaninga back setting that team. And it is on the Zawiercie side, it is useful to point out that Mateusz Biniak didn't play this match. I think that makes a big difference. If he is in there, you would have to expect that Sapinski probably doesn't go 16 for 16 if Biniak is blocking him instead of Szalacha and Zniszczo. Mm-hmm. And also another thing we said about Zawiercie in the preview last week is that they should be the best serving team in the league this year. They had 4 aces and 20 errors this time. That is not a very good line at all. So you always want to look at the serving performance when Zawiercie plays, and this one just wasn't quite so good. Offensively, they were fine. Butryn was fine. Kvolek was fine, and Patrick Waba got the started outside, and he was actually very good. So we also didn't see Trevor Cleveno in this match either. So Zawiercie very, very undermanned first match of the year.
Rob, I have a question for you. Do you go through PlusLiga rosters and like beforehand and try to figure out how to pronounce names? Because you just dropped 2 names, Salacha and Znikol?
Szalacha and Zniszczo.
And Zniszczo. So what? Did you just go through these rosters and just be like, how do I pronounce these? You message admins being are you doing Duolingo in Polish?
I do my research. I know how these letters are supposed to sound in Polish. I'm a pro over here, Everett. Come on.
That was impressive. You just dropped those 2, and I was like, who? And I was looking through, and I was just oh, okay, that's I guess how you pronounce that. That's how I guess you pronounce these names. Dang.
Yep. Take notes, boy.
Okay, yeah, I think we need to go to Poland sometime. We'll just give you a Polish menu and see what happens.
Yeah, that's the thing is even though I can pronounce things in Polish, I don't know a single word in the language except one very particular one that starts with K that I won't repeat on this show.
Oh, why not?
Because it's not a nice word. It's very fun to say though. There's a very strong Polish community here in Chicago, especially in the volleyball community. It's very fun to play volleyball with or against Polish people and hear them curse at each other in Polish. It's great. Big fan.
Moving on. This is actually a game from yesterday, technically in week 2 of the PlusLiga. I don't really like how they just give us week by week with the PlusLiga because it's all over the place. We don't do weeks by and the NHL or NBA or something, but this one, Zaksa going to the limit with Nisa,
and in a reverse sweep.
In a reverse sweep as well.
Yeah, Zaksa went down 2-0, and the fifth set went 24-22. This is as spicy as it gets. Like some people have pointed out in the chat, I even got a DM on Instagram about this. Rob, did you see that there was a match that started on Tuesday and ended on Wednesday, Polish time? Yes, this match started late. It ended after midnight local time. Very, very spicy. Zaksa somehow rescues it and is able to pull off a reverse sweep over Nissa, who played great.
Mm-hmm.
So
they really did.
They deserve a lot of it.
I think this one was really once again, I think you're going to see that I think this is another like Varsovia versus Varsova situation where you have a team that has been together now for a number of months and has been training together for a number of months, and no one has any video on them, and they can come up and they, like, especially early in the season, they can really push these teams that are coming back together, starting to be a unit.
Yeah, and Zaksa was missing a middle. I'm not sure what the deal is with Pashitsky, but he didn't play.
Yeah.
So we saw both Takvam and Wiltenberger across from David Smith, and neither of them were very good at all. Smith was excellent, no surprise there. Shoji's reception numbers pretty good, although he was aced 4 times. That's a little bit rare. But Bartosz Bednor's 23 for 32, 66% efficiency.
Bednor's,
Well deserved.
one of those forgotten men. You know,
so good.
Like him and Shalpuk are kind of sitting in that same spot of just being like the 6th, 7th guy on the depth chart for Poland. For me, though, this is what I love about the PlusLiga, just random polls coming out of nowhere to drop 25 points, like Rumigu's Kapika.
Yep.
Or
he's their backup. Kapitsa. He's their backup opposite.
Sorry.
And I've never seen him before. And apparently neither had Zaksa, because he had 19 for 41, 32% efficiency, and 6 aces. 6 aces.
Putting up some big numbers there. And I mean, other than that, like when I go through this Nisa roster, the only other guy I see or recognize is Nicolas Zerba, and he was all right. He went 8 for 10 in this one with 3 blocks.
That's a great stat line for a middle.
Yeah.
Good for Nissa. I'm sure they wish they could have gotten this one done. They didn't have their starting opposite Matsuya Muzai, who dressed at libero, so it must be something going on with him. But yeah, that we're going to see a lot of these early season games be a little bit like sort of like rock fights. They're just like chucking rocks at each other, a little sloppy, but ended up being really fun games. Same with Yashemski's win over Olsztyn in week 2. That was yesterday also, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah. JSW also pretty undermanned. They're missing a bunch of dudes. Jean Patry really good. Good. We were up
50% efficiency. Yeah. Let's go.
I mean, I don't know, it's last week was saying like he's not convinced about Patry. He's not sure if that'll be a downgrade from Boyer last year. And sure enough, off of Toniuti, his national team teammate, 15 for 28 and 50% efficiency. So that's awesome. Good for him. Norbert Huber looked good. Rafael Shimura looked good, and that's something that I've been wondering about JSW is who's going to be their second outside across from Fornal. And Shimura played the perfect L2 support role, and he didn't even pass the ball that well. But 14 for 24 plus 4 blocks is kind of exactly what they were looking for. And they were missing a bunch of middles, missing Glotter, missing because it should be Glotter and Huber. Some guy, Huber. Yeah, Huber. So some guy named Markovic started in the middle, who I don't know.
4 for 6. Clearly, they don't trust him much. He played 4 sets and got no blocks. So yeah, he was clearly a bit of a pylon out there.
Yeah, a bit of a pylon. On the Olsztyn side, Sherzin didn't play this game. Karlitzek, not super high efficiency. Allen was okay. He was pretty good. 20 points, 17 for 31. That's pretty good. Still lacking in the middle. I mean, Sapinski was fine. Wasn't able to repeat that 16 for 16 banger. I'm a little surprised that Armoa didn't start, although I guess they have issues with the foreigner limit without Sherzin, kind of like we said about Olsztyn last week. So they came back down to earth after beating Zavierce week 1. Somebody in the chat is saying that Trevor Kleveno has mono. That's really bad. Yeah. That's going to keep him out for a while.
Mono's not fun.
No,
mono is
that is
fun.
No joke.
I've never had it, but in 18U, one of my teammates had it, and he lost 25 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah, at 17, 18 years old,
you don't have 25 pounds to lose.
You don't have 25 pounds lose. Shout out to my boy Keith Nahier, one of the all-time scorers in the OCAA. But yeah, like that's hopefully good. Hopefully we have Trevor Kleveno back at sometime soon.
Yeah, that's not great. You could be out for a very long time with mono. All right. Anything else about the PlusLiga? Because there's games going on right now, and there's games going on all the time. There is a Warszawa versus Katowice today.
Yeah.
Let's see. Suwałki versus Varsovia tomorrow.
Olsztyn versus Zaksa on Saturday.
That's a good one.
that should be pretty good. And Zavierci against
Ooh,
Resovia.
Ruskovia.
On
That's a good
Sunday.
one.
Yeah.
That's the classic like Sunday afternoon primetime Polish game. So like kind of Sunday morning our time. That'll be a good one.
I do respect the Polish league that there's never two games on at once.
That's true.
Very, 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 very rarely. You can
Completely
watch every
the
single
opposite of the Italian league.
Completely the opposite of the Italian league.
Ugh. All right. Anything else about the PlusLiga?
Nope. That'll be it. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Where to next?
Ooh, let's go Italy women or Turkey women. What's next for you on your?
Let's do Italy women.
All right.
Let's do Italy women, and there's really just one match to talk about here that I'm very excited to get into.
Yeah,
Malonza versus Scandici. That was sick.
Yeah. Just let me pull up the stats here.
Yeah, I've got it here. So Malonza beat Scandici in 5, 16, 14 in the 5th. Very spicy. Paola Egonu, I think, got hurt in the 5th and had to go out, if I saw that correctly. But before then, Egonu, 33 points, 30 for 63. 63 attempts, 48% kills. She did make 11 errors, so a little bit lower efficiency. But Adu Malawal comes in for her in the 5th set, and I think, an ace and a kill in clutch moments, if I remember right. I only really watched the 5th in this one. Dana Retke, great, 13 for 18. Miriam Silla started for some reason, 9 for 29 with 5 errors. Is a terrible performance. I have no idea why you don't put either Bayama or Kazot Dalderot played a good bit, but she wasn't so good. So still a revolving door of outside hitters for Malonza, as we kind of expected. But on the Scandici side, we saw them roll with both foreign outsides, Britt Herbots and Zhu Ting. And that means that Haley Washington got benched in the middle. So we saw Carl in the middle, and Linda Nwakalor was the other middle to keep enough Italians on the floor. Antropova on the right, and Enrica Merlot at libero. That must be their new libero this year, with Onjenovic setting. So back and forth, good game. Carl was great. Nwakalor actually really good in the middle as well. Antropova not nearly as good. But this could easily be a playoff matchup down the line, and I was excited to watch this one.
100%. This is definitely, if not a playoff matchup, like it could possibly. I don't know about the final, actually.
No,
I'm still looking for at this point Malonza versus Canigliano in the final. But hey, a really good fight here from Scandici. I mean, this is a team that was right there step in step with the best teams in the league last year. I don't know if they made enough moves in the offseason to really upgrade. Sure, adding Britt Herbots is nice, but I don't know if it pushes the needle enough for them. But yeah, a good outing here for both these teams. Nice for Malonza to get pushed a little bit early to kind of have to figure out some things.
Yeah, but I think they should. I mean, they went up 2-0 here. They should have won. Yeah. They should have gotten 3 points from this match. And I mean, Kara Bayama off the bench in the 4th and started the 5th. 6 for 8 plus, 6 for 8, 7 points total with a block. Like, I don't know what you're doing not starting her over Miriam Silla. Like, you have enough foreigners. You have enough Italians in the lineup with Oro, Egonu, and actually Parocchiale, because Castillo apparently isn't ready to play yet. So you didn't need to start Miriam Silla. Why are you starting Miriam Silla when she goes 9 for 29? Now, she did pass the ball well. I'll give her that. But if Silla should be your offensive outside hitter, if she's bad on offense, yank her. Like that, we should know this by now.
The decisions by old Italian coaches will never cease to surprise me. Let's just put it at that.
I just don't get it. I mean, and you yank Helena Cazot after going 4 for 13 and passing amazingly, and you pull her out for Nika Dalderot for some reason, who ends up playing worse. And I don't know if Rafael Foley's not ready to go yet, but Sonia Kandi started in the middle. She wasn't very good. Like, I just don't get this. I don't get some of these choices. And we thought that this was Malonza's problem last year. We thought that this year it was going to be more clear who was going to play on a given night, but apparently not.
Oh, I don't really have to say, because you're saying it all.
Is Castillo really wasting her time at the Pan Am Games with the Dominican women's team? What?
I mean, wasting her time. That sounds like a better deal.
The Pan Am Games is a waste of time.
I mean, for
Canada and the USA aren't even sending teams. Finally,
yeah,
which is good.
But like the Pan Am Games is massive for like Central, the Caribbean, and like and South America. So huge. Like it's a much bigger, like if I was Castillo, absolutely. Do I want to go with my teammates and best friends and national team girls who have like, we've just had a great summer together, keep that going on. I get to go hang out in an athlete village. We're in Chile. We're going to win the tournament easily without any problems before I go off to my pro season. Absolutely. She's still getting paid from them. She's still getting the same amount of contract. 100%. If I'm Brenda Castillo and I'm like, do I go to the Pan Am Games with my national team, or do I go and slug it away in the Lega Volley Femminile? I'm going with my national team for sure.
If I'm Malonza, I wouldn't have allowed her to do this. She's the best libero in the world. You paid her to come over, like, and she's going to go play this completely insignificant tournament.
100%. You know what they paid her to win championships, right? Can they win a championship right now? Hell no. Is her mental health and player happiness more important for them right now? Absolutely. Right? Maybe Matt Anderson wouldn't have taken that time off from Zenit Kazan if they would have let him play Pan Am Games with Team USA. You don't know that.
yeah, you're right. That's exactly what we need to play even more national team volleyball into late October. Yeah, Everett, great idea.
I mean, hey, national team volleyball versus club. She's still playing volleyball either or. Once again, I think I would rather be with my homies.
Ridiculous. All right. Any more takes on this match? This wasn't far. It was far from the cleanest volleyball of all time, but it is two very good teams.
Two very good teams. I think we're going to see them a little bit more as we move forward. One other match that was a bit of an upset here, Rob. Roma, the newcomers to the Lega Volley Femminile, get no win. Their first win over Busto Arsizio, which is, that's interesting. Arsizio,
dude, they're going to have a bad year. Busto is going to have a bad year. They have absolutely no firepower. They have no size. They have no national team players, no national team prospects. Most of their good players the past couple of years have just been funneled up to the better clubs. Like, remember, they got third in Champions League like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, this used to be like a Champions League team.
Jordan Poulter, Alexa Gray, Camila Mingardi. Like that team was sick 2 years ago. They were really good. They beat Vakifbank in a game. Yeah. And this year, just on paper and clearly on the court so far, just not going to be a good year for Busto Arsizio. No way do they make the playoffs, in my opinion.
Funding clearly isn't there.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Let's see. I'm looking through the other scores. Novara beat Pinarolo. Yeah, great, whatever. Conegliano beat Chieri, and Chieri is good. So that was the other high-profile match this week, although this shouldn't be at all surprising. How good was Isabel Hack? Let's see. Actually, not great. 17 points, 15 for 46, 6 errors. But Khalil Lanier started and was very good. That's good for me to see. I like that.
Nice. Love that too. I got to watch her a little bit in Quebec City. I liked her a lot.
She's awesome. Yeah, I think that three outside hitter group, all those Americans and Conegliano, is going to do well this year. I like the different looks that they have. Okay, well, I'm learning in the chat this Carletti girl from Busto is a national team prospect, but I don't know anything about her personally. Hopefully, she can try and carry Busto to the playoffs, but I personally don't see it. Here are the standings through 3 matches. Only Conegliano and Novara perfect so far with 9 points.
Yeah, I mean, Milano losing that one. They're still undefeated, but just don't have the 9 points. And that's pretty much if you were to ask me how the top 4 would break down after the first few weeks, this is how it break down for sure.
Yeah, Novara a little bit better than I might have thought, but I would argue that they haven't played anybody super good yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, should we take a look, staying on the women's side, should we go look at the Turkish league?
Yeah, let's go check out the Sultanlar League, because we had an absolute banger early on last week. Actually, right after this show, Zastabasha versus Fenerbahce, and that was just an absolute banger of a match. It really two giants just going toe to toe. Zastabasha getting the W in this one, 36 points for Tijana Boskovic. She was 33 for 59. But on the other side of the net, it's the exact same story for Magdalena Stesiak. She also had 36 points. She was 33 for 58.
Both awesome performances.
Both awesome performances. And the best thing about this match is that how back and forth it was.
Yeah.
I mean, You had Fenerbahce win the first, Exhausted win the second, Exhausted won the third. Fenerbahce came back nicely in the fourth. Exhausted in the fifth. Like, this was a battle all the way through. To me, at the end of the day, though, Boskovic had a little bit more support on the left side of the court. Alexa Gray was very good, and she was very solid for this team with 17 points, whereas Arina Fedoritseva was, she was all right. Only 10 points, 10 for 33, no aces, which is odd.
That
for
is
her.
a little weird for her.
And no blocks. So a very, very good early match. And I mean, I think today, in 3 minutes, I'm pretty sure Exhausted and Vakifbank are going to be playing.
Yeah, that is an absolute banger. We're gonna get out of here as soon as we can to go watch that one. Yeah, this was a fun match. This was such a tone setter for the whole Turkish League season. I mean, the Super Cup was a 5-setter. Vakifbank won it. This was a 5-setter. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Vakif versus Exhausted today went 5. This was very, very fun. Two teams that are built very similarly right now. Like, you have Stisiak versus Boskovic. You have Alexa Gray versus Fedorovtseva as the primary scoring outside hitters for both.
Yep.
You have Hande Baladin and I guess Malia Ismailoglu, or like her married name is Deacon now, is kind of the second outside hitters for both. You've got pretty good middles all the way around. You've got pretty good liberos all the way around. This was great. And we saw Martina Chernyanska a little bit at the end for Zajabasha in the 5th. Or 4th, I guess, which is good to see her. I'm excited for her to get a little more time this year. This is a great match. Very fun.
Yep.
The Discord was popping off for it. I'm hoping for the same for this match coming up today.
I really liked Sinead Jack Casal from Trinidad and Tobago for Zashabasha.
She's great.
Really just bringing some energy. She was 8 for 13, got a block. I was just like, who is this player here? And I was like, Trinidad and Tobago. Damn.
No,
Let's go.
She's been around. She was at Zajabasha.
Oh, she has been around. Absolutely, yeah.
Because she's Turkish now. She married a Turkish guy. It's just she doesn't count against the foreigner limit, and she's very, very important for Zajabasha.
Love to see it. It's just further declaration that those Caribbean countries just invest a little bit more in volleyball. I'd love to see more Cubas and Dominican Republics out there. Yeah,
just a little. I've nothing else really about this match except that it was awesome, and I'm excited for the next one. Here are the so that was match day 2. Here's the standings through 3 matches for almost every team. Really, nothing happened in match day 3. There were 0 notable results, but this is the start of round 4. Vakifbank versus Zajabasha, unless they're getting out ahead of. Oh yeah, it's actually interesting. Flash Score says it's round 12. They're bringing a match forward in the schedule, probably to make room for something else, Champions League or Club World Championship or something like that. So they moved it up, which is just a treat for us. We get a good midweek game.
One team that's interestingly struggling so far for me is Galatasaray.
Yeah,
I mean, this has been a team that should be there, and I mean, their last one they've done 2 5-setters, they lost in 5 both times. This is a team that's typically at the top of the table, so for them to start 0-2, losing to Nilüfer, all right, but losing to Sarrier, that shouldn't be happening.
So they actually beat Sarrier yesterday. So this isn't quite as up to date with yesterday's match.
Okay.
So Galatasaray did get their first win in 5.
So they're 1-2. Okay.
Yeah, they're 1-2. They got 3 dong by Vakifbank, which is understandable in their second match. And then they lost to Nilüfer in 5. So they got on the board there. This graphic is about 2 days old, I guess.
Yeah, it's so weird because they played their week 3 match before they played their week 2 match.
Yeah.
They played their week 3 match on the 21st and their week 2 match on the 24th. Guys, let's just keep this uniform, okay? Either we don't do weeks or we respect the weeks, okay? It's one or the other.
I agree. Our North American brains are scrambled trying to follow along with how these calendars work.
100%. Either you do an NFL where it's like these are the game days and we play throughout the weeks, or you just open it up, okay? It's okay if you're moving things around for extracurriculars like Champions League and stuff, but none of this other stuff. This is garbage. Figure it out. Sorry. That just
Little,
annoyed me.
that's nice little mini rant there from Everett. That's just good to keep the people on their toes. All right. Anything else about the Superlega League? I actually
No.
I do want to talk about the Effler League a little bit. I don't have an asset for this, but a great match last week was Housekeeping versus Zerat Bank. Went
Yes.
5. It was awesome. It was free on YouTube. I think it was like Thursday, maybe. Yeah, Zerat Bank ended up winning it in 5. Very fun. Sorry, my bad. Housekeeping won it in 5, 16-14 in the 5th. Zerat Bank should have won it in 5, which is what I was thinking of. I think they were up 13-11 or like 13-12 receiving and couldn't get it done. Nimir went back and went on a service run. Shocker. But we saw a lot of the new characters. We saw Irvin Ingapet. We saw a little bit of Gord Perrin. We saw a little bit of Matt Anderson for Zerat Bank. We didn't even see Luciano Vicentin, who's also on Zerat Bank. Like there is star power in the Turkish league this year.
The Turkish league this year was really interesting to me. The Efferler League, especially when you look at the cast of opposites that they have on some of these teams. Like Halkbank has Namir, Zerat Bank has Anderson, Arcus has Roser. Your best friend Hadava is playing for Galatasaray. A Cuban hero, and not so much in Finland. Roland Cepeda is playing for who is it?
Oh my god, I forgot about him. Man, it's been years.
You've got Sadat Bardia, the Iranian youngster who's in Turkey. Brad Gunter, classic Thompson Rivers University youth sports guy.
Wow.
He used to do things for the Maple Volleys and was quite the MVP in Bulgaria for a number of years. He's also in Turkey. So you've got some high flying right side opposites in the Effler League, and I like that. I like that a lot.
That's fun.
You've got multiple. You've got right now 9 guys in the Effler League, averaging over 5 points a set. And Anderson is sitting right on the outside of that at 4.89.
And Anderson's playing left side. I mean, Wouter Termat is their guy on the right.
Oh, he is. Oh, I completely forgot about Termat as well. Man, honestly, if you want to watch the Effler League, you just watch the right side of the court. That's where the balls go.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of bangers on the right side in that league. Also, in other league news, Berlin won the German Super Cup. Breaking news: They win it every single year. They 3-donged Friedrichshafen. Whatever. I think the season starts this weekend. The Bundesliga on Friday, actually.
Yeah, they 3-donged Friedrichshafen. Friedrichshafen beat Lüneburg, I think 3-2 in the 5 in the semifinals, and Berlin beat Gießen as well in the other semifinal. I'm definitely excited for some Bundesliga.
Yeah, I will not claim to have watched any of those matches.
I watched a couple of minutes of Lüneburg versus Friedrichshafen at the end.
All right.
That's about it.
All right, let's take a break before we have one more fun thing to talk about. It's the results of our national team polls that we put out last week. Got to unveil those. But before we do that, a couple very important announcements. The first is that volleyball.store. Everett, let the people know.
Absolutely. Head over, guys, to that volleyball.store. Use the code 15 or code SPICY for 15% off. You'll get your entire order there for 50% off. And yeah, go check it out. That's where one place that you can support us. You get all your spicy volleyball gear, all of your 9x9 gear, all of your other stuff. And yeah, it's awesome. Check it out.
Got to get in there. Also, give us a thumbs up on this video. We're pretty good viewers. We appreciate you guys getting really active in the chat, but also give us a thumbs up and join the Volleyball Source Discord. If you're not already in there, links in the description. It's a no-brainer. It's the best online volleyball community in the world. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of people watching the Housekeeping versus Zajabasha game that just started. So join that. It's great. Also, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? Daddy Stankovic is back every week on this show. He's back on the court for Modena, which is great to see. But also, Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in this episode. And if you find him and you comment in the main YouTube comment section after the stream is over, not the live chat, you cheaters. I see people talking about Daddy in there. You got to wait until the show is over and comment in the main comment section if you find Daddy. And then if you do, you get a shout out on next week's show. So last week, we were talking about round 2 of the Lega Volley Femminile. And if you look really closely in that green Volleyfolia logo on the right side there, you see a sort of sublimated green Daddy Stankovic. Some of my better work. I wanted to go away from just putting him on somebody's face this time and put him on one of the logos. So our friend Devin from the Volleyball Coverage Channel found him, and our friend John Lau found him right away. So good job, you guys found Daddy. If you find Daddy in this episode, make sure you comment where he is in the main YouTube comment section after the stream is over.
Real quick, Rob, it is 7-5 for Vakif Bank early on.
Okay.
Man, they got Nike as a sponsor. It's like,
yeah, it's
big. Like the Sultanat League does well.
There's money. There's money, dude. There's money in that league. So Vakif Bank's wearing Nike. Same with Olsztyn. Olsztyn in the PlusLiga is wearing Nike this year.
Gotta get. Oh, but even Gazasha Basha has some nice Puma jerseys as well. Guidetti, I don't know if I like that suit and then t-shirt look combo. He looks like a bumblebee.
You've got it on in the background, huh?
Yeah. No,
All
not
right.
in the background. It's right beside. I'm looking at you and Vakif Bank's right beside.
Very nice. All right. Without further ado, it is time to unveil the 2023 Volleyball Source National Team Season Awards. So this was something that we wanted to get a lot of feedback from the community. We put out polls last week. We got several hundred responses to 2 different polls. One was putting together the all-star teams of the summer, and one was putting together some superlatives, trying to give out some awards. I'm very excited about these. We appreciate you all answering the poll, filling out your responses. I spent a lot of time yesterday compiling all the data and bringing up some results. Everett, would you want to start with the all-star teams or with the awards?
Let's start with the awards.
Let's do it. So if ever we have an Excel document with all the data that I put it in our show notes if you want to look at it. But without further ado, let's start at the top. Let's start with the MVPs. First of all, it is to the surprise of absolutely nobody. Congratulations, Melissa Vargas, the MVP of the summer, of the MVP of the women's national team season, with 79% of the vote. Melissa Vargas is the female player of the year. Magdalena Stysiak in second with 7.4%. This is an absolute landslide win for Melissa Vargas. And if anybody else had won this award, we would have shut down this channel. So no brainer. Congratulations to Melissa Vargas, by far the best player in the world this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, she was a monster. Like
she was ridiculous.
She was
MVP of the VNL, MVP of Eurovolley. Helped her team go 7-0 in Olympic qualifiers. Like what more can you say?
I agree.
On the men's side, however, the men's MVP, which ends up going to Alexander Śliwka of Poland with only 20% of the vote. This was extremely close. Śliwka got 20%, Georg Grozer got 18%, Marcin Janusz 13%, Yuki Ishikawa 12%. Wilfredo Leon and Micah Christensen 11%. This was really, really tight. I honestly didn't know who I was going to vote for in this particular category. It does go to Śliwka, who helped Poland win everything they touched this summer, but they were so well-rounded and so just good all the way around. I mean, they had 3 guys get significant votes for MVP, but congratulations to Śliwka. I mean, he has a case for best outside hitter in the world right now.
Honestly, yeah. Like, and when you look at the fact that there was times in the past with the Zaxa, there was times in the past with the national team where like it looked like he was just going to be that third guy off the bench, like just kind of, stability guy. For him to make that comeback and to really solidify himself as maybe the most important player in both those teams is huge, especially when you consider the surrounding cast that he's had. Like, this is what makes like Polish volleyball so intriguing to me right now, is that everywhere else there's solid core guys, but how many of these polls have had, from Śliwka to Fornell to Semeniuk? Like, it's just another one every year, but I do think this is well deserved for Alexander Śliwka.
Yeah, and it's like, this is just considering the summer for Team Poland. It's not including Champions League, which is even more of supporting Śliwka's case for best outside hitter in the world right now. But he was also brilliant for Poland. I mean, he was their best player at VNL, in my opinion. He was probably their best player at Eurovolley, even though Leon won the MVP, and he was excellent as one of a rotating cast at Olympic qualifiers. So good for Śliwka, but there were a lot of guys that had amazing summers. Like, there was not even close to a runaway candidate like there was for Vargas on the women's side.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It was a much different situation on the men's side. But we've seen that. Like we've talked about quite a bit about how the women's game has transitioned to having a monster opposite you just chuck a bunch of balls to, whereas the men's game has spread out a little bit, and you're seeing guys contribute from all over the place. So I mean, not to be surprised considering how both of the games have been evolving in the past few years.
I completely agree. Continuing in the theme with Melissa Vargas completely cleaning up her awards. Congratulations to the newcomers of the year. Melissa Vargas wins this award with 85% of the vote because this was her first summer playing for the Turkish national team. She is a newcomer. But I mean, come on. She almost is too good for this award. Antropova in second.
Completely too good for this award.
Yeah,
completely too good for this award.
But she is a newcomer. She absolutely is. This was her first season playing for Turkey. It definitely counts, but it almost is. It's a little bit lame to have her clean up yet another award with even more of the vote. But the newcomer of the year on the men's side, congratulations to Luke Herr. Luke Him, as we've called him.
Luke Him. I like that. I do respect Farah Riegers, and there's a lot of it was a close, but guys, there's a big difference between what Luke Herr and Farah Riegers did this year. So show some respect.
Yeah. So as I was putting together all this data, I actually, in general, I agree with a lot of the community's choices for this. I think there were a lot of because we had enough people fill out the poll, which we appreciate.
There's so many full data.
Yeah,
that's great.
The overwhelming, at the end of the day, the opinions ended up being pretty good. I think there were some very bad votes here and there.
Yes,
Riegers is not a bad vote. I think it was between him and her, definitely.
Yeah.
There were a couple votes for Mirza Legumja, who isn't really even a newcomer. He's played before. No. Votes for Onerato, maybe. Votes for Christian Thondike, yeah, okay, I kind of get that one. Votes for Bo Valenta.
Somebody wrote Nikolov too in here too.
Definitely not a newcomer.
Yeah, George Grozer got
definitely not a newcomer.
That's
what I was about to say. Is the Grozer? Grozer appears in a lot of these awards, as we'll talk about. Because I mean, he was unbelievable. He had one of the best tournaments we've ever seen. But there is a lot of recency bias in some of these results.
There's much recency bias.
A lot of people are thinking only about Olympic qualifiers. It's the last thing we saw, and forgetting about continental championships and VNL. And we're talking about the whole summer here. We're not just talking about Olympic qualifiers. Even though Grozer was unbelievable, and that tournament alone, which was the only one that he played. That tournament alone does hold a lot of weight, but there was more volleyball this summer than that. So next time I want people to try and think around recency bias a little bit more. I do, though, think that Luke Herr was the right choice for newcomer of the year. He definitely had my vote.
Yeah, 100%. For most improved female of the year, most improved women of the year, Rob, this one was pretty consensus. Everett Karakurt, sure. She's not new to the scene, but you move her from the right side to the left side. No one knew if it was possible. Hell, we were still doubting it through the regular, through the rounds in the VNL. It wasn't really until the playoffs that she really started to step up and to be that player. But for Everett Karakurt to make that move from the right side to the left side was so huge for Turkey, and a big reason why they've dominated this year.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely the right choice on the women's side. Karakurt, the improvement in not just did she become a better player? It's more about did she become more important to her team? And she absolutely
which is crazy, the fact that she used to be the linchpin, she used to be the player, she used to be everything that volleyball hinged around, and then you move her to the left side in what many people would see as a lesser role, and she's gotten better. And to me, there's a huge amount of respect that goes to Everett Karakurt for that, especially since she's been painted as maybe not the easiest person to deal with in the past, but also Daniele Santarelli. For him to realize the importance of her role and the importance of her there, and to make that transition is absolutely huge.
Yeah, and Turkey is nowhere without her being able to play left side, being able to receive, being able to be a threat on the left attacking. They would not have been the same team without her switching the positions and playing so well. But I also really like the two players that came in just behind. Agnieszka Korneluk at 21.9% of the vote. She had an
Lethal
awesome
Barbie,
summer.
let's go.
Lethal Barbie.
Lethal Barbie.
She had an awesome summer. And so did Emily Maglio, 13.2% of the vote for most improved. She had an awesome summer, leading blocker at Olympic qualifiers, if I remember correctly. She was great.
Blocks. She was fantastic. I think she had like 12 blocks in a game too at Norsika Championships.
Sheesh.
So yeah, it was a lot. She's a highly underrated player who is still not under contract, if I'm not mistaken.
How is that possible?
I don't know. You literally just had the most blocks in the biggest tournament of the year, and no one wants to pick her up. Although I'm not necessarily, maybe she's not looking to get picked up. Who knows?
Now right before VNL, like they needed more help in the middle, and like Maglio was always going to start across from Jen Cross, but like Maglio ended up putting like 1.5 to 2 middle blockers worth of production from one middle blocker position all summer.
Yeah, 100%. It'll be big to see what happens with the MB2 position for the Maple Blaze on the women's side this summer. Yeah. Big ups to Ebra Karakurt. And on the men's side, Ran Takahashi.
I disagree with this one.
Oh, okay, good that you said it, not me.
I disagree with this one. This is a weeb vote.
This is a weeb vote for sure.
This is a weeb vote. I disagree with this. Takahashi had a very good summer, but he had a similarly good summer last year. Like this is not. This was a popularity vote, and I disagree with this. He was not.
He doesn't move the needle for Japan like Ishikawa or Miura or.
But that's not what we're voting on here. We're voting for most improved player.
100%.
Takahashi this summer versus last summer did not improve as much as the guy who came in second here, Arthur Schwartz, who absolutely should have won this award, was by far the most improved player. Didn't even play last year except a little bit at middle blocker.
No,
was by far the most improved player at an important position, helped Canada qualify for the Olympics.
But like you saw the improvement throughout the summer too.
Yeah.
Like Schwartz was a non-starter on this team who we saw sparingly throughout VNL, right? Like, and then you bring him into the Norsika for the Norsika Championship, the Olympic qualifiers, and this team does some incredible things. With him being a massive part of it, like there's no doubt to me in this one. You guys got this wrong.
Yeah, you guys got this one wrong.
And I expect an apology.
Yeah, give us a nice weeb apology, and for making us put a Japanese player on the screen in a category where he doesn't belong. Arthur Schwartz should have won this. Johannes Tila got some votes as well. He also deserved it. He also was improved much more than Takahashi did. Anton Brema got some votes. Javier Concepcion got some votes. Justin Louis got some votes. I agree.
Yeah.
Luciano Vicentin got some votes. I agree with all of those over Takahashi. Most improved this year versus last year. All those players improved more than Ran Takahashi did.
I don't know necessarily about Tila. I think Tila's always been good, but he hasn't necessarily had.
Tila was the third setter on the depth chart until this year for Germany. But
when you looked at like guys like in our Discord have been talking about Tila for a while now and have been saying that he should have been the guy for a little bit.
Well, it doesn't mean he's not most improved. He never got a look until Kampa wasn't that good in week 1 of VNL this year. And when we saw Tila come in Ottawa, he kind of took the spot for himself. I think that absolutely counts for most improved.
I mean, the reason Germany beat us on whatever night of it was in VNL and Ottawa is because they moved, like Canada rocked Germany in the first set with Kampa, and then Tila came in and switched it up. But I still think Arthur Schwartz should have been the most improved. And if you're out there voting like a haiku story, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think this was the only truly bad pick that the people made. I disagree with Takahashi for most improved. Let's talk about another category that I think is very interesting, and one that you got to be careful with how you define it. Comeback Player of the Year. So on the men's side, this was absolutely dominated by Georg Grozer. 54% of the vote. Grozer wins Comeback Player of the Year. Now, technically, Grozer did make a comeback from his own voluntary retirement from the national team. He comes back and has one of the great tournaments of all time in Olympic qualifiers. But again, we're talking about the whole summer, not just Olympic qualifiers. And like comeback to me is like comeback from injury or comeback from like obscurity way down the depth chart or comeback from like something else. Like coming back from choosing not to play for several summers and then choosing to come back and being amazing isn't quite in the spirit of the category to me, even though it is technically a comeback and Grozer was unbelievable in that one tournament. I personally voted for Wilfredo Leon in this category, who came in second because he didn't play all of national team summer last year because he hurt his knee, he had surgery. Then he came back, he was the MVP of Eurovolley. He kind of had a lot to prove after a club season where Perugia was disappointing and didn't play national team last year. And I thought that Leon had a good comeback summer, but Eric Lepke also deserved a lot of votes, which he got. He ended up coming in third. What do you think, Everett? Like, is Grozer the right pick? Does Grozer, like, is he in the spirit of the Comeback Player of the Year award to you?
Not really. To be honest, like, you're right. Like, he didn't, like, it's not like he was injured. I mean, I think he did suffer an injury, like a small one at Piacenza this year, but like nothing too serious. But I mean, like, you could make the argument too that this was a comeback. It's 50-50. It would be, I think it would be a different story if there was someone else who really seemed to deserve it. And like the only one for me would be Lepke, but even then, you know, like he did suffer an injury kind of throughout the year. We didn't really see him last year, but like we saw him a little bit. So I think if there was some better options, maybe we wouldn't see Grozer here.
Another player who got some votes but deserved more is Max Holt.
Yes, I think that was one of the guys that like I really would have wanted to see. I think like for me it should have been Max Holt. Like Max has been a guy that we weren't really sure we would ever see again on a national team level at the level that he was at, and he came back and almost seems like he got better in a lot of ways.
And really good.
You know, like I almost think Sproul wishes that he didn't come back as good so that it could make some of his decisions easier in the middle blocking position, but they've just got harder because Max Holt. And I think we said a few times, we said it to Max as well, both in VNL and Nordic Championships, that it was great to have him back.
Oh, absolutely. And Norbert Huber also got some votes in this category, now this is a real comeback. I mean, he tore his Achilles in January of 22, didn't play national team summer at all last year, came back and was one of their best players in Eurovolley and in Olympic quals. So I think that's more the comeback that I have in mind. Yeah. Like on the women's side, Gizem Urga winning this award as a comeback player. She did come back from injury. That I like. Hande Baladin, that one doesn't really make sense to me. What did she come back from? Being bad? Like she still rode the bench for a lot of the summer. Like Ilkin Aydin was their second outside hitter. At least she should have been most of the time. Thaisa, the middle from Brazil, that one I do like as a comeback player. That she definitely did deserve votes there.
Yeah.
But Gizem Urga gets this award, and I agree. I mean, she at libero for Turkey this summer was a unsung and very important part of why they were so good. So that one I agree with. But Grozer, I mean, just maybe not in the spirit of the award to me, even though technically he did make a comeback and he was amazing for one tournament. And like people are saying, oh, you should have made it more clear that we're talking about the whole summer. You guys must be illiterate, because I put in big bold letters at the very beginning of the poll, considering the entire national team season only. And then I listed every tournament and who won and who was the MVP. And I gave you all the info you needed. You guys just can't read. So that's your own fault.
All right, let's move on. I agree with you fully. Like the information was there. If you guys are here complaining,
yeah,
suck it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry we put out this poll for you guys to all get involved. I'm so sorry we went through all this effort to make all this content. You guys are complaining about it. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Keep it moving.
All right, no brainers for this award. The coaches of the year: Tuomas Semelvo of Canada on the men's side, Daniele Santarelli of Turkey on the women's side. Absolute no brainers. Gerbic and Blind on the men's side deserved votes. So did Lavarini on the women's side for Poland. But Semelvo and Santarelli absolutely were the right picks for these awards. So good job, community. 100%. You got this one right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Santarelli, you're the absolute GOAT right now. Amazing. Everything he touches turns to gold. He transitions over to Turkey. That we had so many questions at the beginning of the season, and he answered all of them. And then some. Whoa, what can I say? You were the man. You made it happen for us. So
Canadian hero.
Yeah, honestly, put him on the dollar, put him on the loonie.
Put him on the loonie. A Finnish guy on the loonie. That would be awesome. I didn't even make
a volleyball guy on the loonie.
Yeah,
that would be crazier.
That would be all time. I didn't even make an asset for Dark Horse Team of the Year because it was so obviously won by the Dominican Republic on the women's side and Germany on the men's side. So congratulations to them.
Let's keep it moving. Those ones were obvious.
Match of the year. This was a very interesting one to put together because we just left it open-ended for the people to type in their own responses for match of the year. The men's match of the year ended up being Argentina's 3-2 win over the U.S. in VNL Week 3 in Anaheim because that one set went 43-41 or whatever it ended up being. It was the longest match in VNL history. The women's match of the year was Turkey 3-2 over Serbia in the Eurovolley final. Yes. However, the Turkey 3-2 win over Italy in the Eurovolley semifinal was right behind it. 37% for the final, 29% of the vote for the semifinal. But on the men's side, there was a 32% of the vote for Argentina, USA, and then a whole lot behind that at 8% for a bunch of random little matches here and there. So those are your matches of the year. Everett, what were your votes for this category?
Where were my votes for this category? That's a good question. I have a hard time, Rob, because we watch so much volleyball. I have a hard time picking out specific matches. I think for me personally, just the up and down of Cuba versus Canada, both in VNL and at Norseca, beating Ronnie anytime will get me going. That one's a little bit biased for sure, but yeah, those are two of the biggest ones for me. But that's a completely biased answer, and I know that.
Yeah, Canada versus Cuba at Norseca in the semifinal is high on my list. I mean, obviously we did the broadcast. There's definitely some bias there, but that match was sick. Argentina USA, it was definitely a sick match. USA 3-2 over France in the VNL quarterfinal was a good match. Canada beating the Netherlands in Olympic qualifiers was a great one in my head.
That was a good one. I really liked Brazil versus Cuba in Ottawa.
That was a great one. Oh, that match, being there in person, that match was awesome. Actually, Belgium versus Bulgaria. Somebody put that in the chat. That got a lot of votes. Bulgaria sweeping Belgium in Olympic qualifiers got a lot of votes. So did Japan 3-2 over Italy in the VNL bronze medal match. That was also a really good one. And then on the women's side, it was those two Turkey 5-setters in Eurovolley, but also Brazil 3-2 over Japan in Olympic qualifiers, which was also a great match. That one got some votes too.
Great match. So many good matches this summer.
Many good matches. Also, we just heard that Vakif Bank won the first set 25-23, so that match is spicy. Don't worry, we'll get to it. Last but not least, in our awards, it is my pleasure to award Stooge of the Year. Stooge of the Year goes to none other than Davide Mazzanti. Congratulations, Davide Mazzanti. You are the Stooge of the Year for completely blowing every opportunity with the Italian women's national team. 39% of the vote went to Mazzanti. Congratulations for being awarded the Stooge of the Year. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. CEV Broadcasting and the VNL replay system also received significant votes, as did the Korean women's national team, the Volleyball World social media admins. Somebody wrote in, whoever gave MVP of the VNL to Pavel Zatorsky received some votes for Stooge of the Year. Andrea Gianni received some votes for Stooge of the Year.
Really?
Somebody wrote in, anyone who doubted Eric Lepke. I figured you would like that one, Everett. Then somebody also wrote in, the idiots that did the Norseca broadcast as Stooges of the Year, as jokingly.
That makes sense.
That was a good one.
Jokingly, I don't know. I think that was pretty serious.
Yeah, somebody wrote in the entire Norseca Federation as Stooge of the Year. This was a good category, but Mazzanti had to win. Mazzanti had to win this category.
100%.
What a stooge.
Absolutely. What a stooge.
We should do Stooge of the Year for club season as well, because there's going to be some real contenders.
Derek Lepke. I love that.
Stooge Chev is
Stooge Chev
leading the category so far.
As always. All right, Rob, is that it?
No, we got to do our all-star teams. That is That is the last thing. It's on the next tab of that Excel or that sheet that you've got there, Everett. Let's start on the women's side. Congratulations to the first team All-Stars this summer. The way we did this is we had you vote your first and second best. Like if you have one player on the court, you voted for your top two. If you have two players on the court, you voted for your top four. And then I put it all with weightings on how many votes you got for first best, second best, third, or fourth. This is our first team All-Stars for the women. Joanna Wołosz of Poland is the first team setter. Gabi of Brazil, of course, the first team outside, as is Li Ying. Melissa Vargas, the first team opposite. Zara Gunesh was the number one middle. Agnieszka Korneluk, Lethal Barbie was the number two middle. And Brenda Castillo was the number one libero. Everett, I think this list is perfect. I actually think this is the exact perfect 7-player list.
I have some what people would say is a bias, but I would put a certain Alexa Gray over Li Ying.
Li Ying China got silver at VNL, and she was awesome.
True, they did get silver at VNL, but they did lose to us at Olympic qualifiers. But yeah, you're right. You're right. They did recency bias for sure, but silver at VNL is good. But other than that, 100%.
This was actually my exact list in this exact order. I think the community got this one exactly right. So congratulations to these 7 ladies. They are the first team All-Stars of the summer. Second team All-Stars on the women's side, there is Alexa Gray Everett. Kara Kurt was outside hitter 3. Gray was outside hitter 4. Cansu Özbay was setter number 2. This one I was a little surprised by because Elif Şahin was setter number 3. I was wondering which Turkish setter would get it. Tiana Bošković was the second opposite. Ada Erdem was the third middle. Thaisa Menezes was the fourth middle. And Gizem Urga was the second libero. I also think this is a very good list. Alexa Gray had to get on there somewhere.
It is.
Bošković deserved it.
It is a very good list. I do think that it shows that we had a lot of Turkish people.
Yes. Yeah, 6 Turkish vote getters or 6 Turkish players, but in our 14 first and second All-Stars. That might be a little too many, but I mean they were the best team in the world, so they certainly deserved a lot of spots. Bošković was amazing this summer. She definitely deserves a spot, but I personally voted for Magdalena Stysiak as my second opposite. She ended up coming in third on the list. Just because Poland was so good and Poland had such a good summer by their own standards.
Yeah, for sure. I would have liked to see Stysiak there as well. I think she had a phenomenal summer. And Bošković was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but just not. I think Stysiak was there a little bit more.
Yeah, Bošković was great. I mean, she was probably the second best player in all of the Eurovolley tournament. Just wasn't quite enough. Somebody says no American women. I agree. I don't think there was any American women that deserved to be on this list for this summer. Like, who would you have put in and over who? Like, no one.
Not one. What did they win? What did they medal in?
Yeah, like second at Norsika, that's a failure. We qualified for the Olympics, that was good. But fourth at VNL, that's a failure. Yeah, I don't think, and that we don't have any superstars. I definitely wouldn't have put any American women. Justine Wong Arantes got some votes at libero. That was the only player who got a decent number of votes.
I would consider as well.
Yeah. All right, on to the men. Congratulations to the first team All-Stars for the men's national team this summer. Micah Christensen, the number 1 setter. Alexander Schlifka and Yuki Ishikawa are the outsides. Georg Grozer is the opposite. Augustin Loser and Jakub Kochanowski are the middles. And Eric Shoji is the libero. I think this list is very good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much bang on.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much bang on.
Yeah. Christensen and Shoji are no-brainers. I think that Schlifka, the outside hitter position was a tight one. I think you could have made a lot of cases for a lot of guys, but Schlifka and Ishikawa, I think, were the top 2. Opposite, here's the Grozer conversation again, because Grozer was amazing at Olympic qualifiers, but there's another player who had an amazing summer in 3 different tournaments. And we can just show our second team All-Stars. That's Łukasz Kaczmarek, who I personally voted for the first team because he was better the entire summer versus Grozer was unbelievable for one tournament. But Grozer had to be on here somewhere. Second team All-Stars, Marcin Janusz is the second setter. Wilfredo Leon and TJ DeFalco are outside hitters 3 and 4. Łukasz Kaczmarek is the second opposite. Norbert Huber and David Smith are middle blockers 3 and 4. And Tomohiro Yamamoto is the second libero. I agree with this list too. I think this is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Solid all the way through. There's a bit more, there's also a Polish bias. You're seeing the same thing as the last one, but you know
They were
what?
the best team.
They've been absolutely. They've been the best team all the way through. So no problem with that.
I do
Yeah,
like the number
I
of
think
Americans.
2 solid lists.
Yeah. Micah, Shoji, DeFalco, and Smith, I think all were deserving. I'm glad that they all that they all were recognized on our Volleyball Source National Team All-Stars. So those are our lists. Thank you guys all for giving us your feedback. Thanks for participating in the polls. That was fun. It was fun to put that together. We'll certainly do something like that again in the near future. DeCheco, by the way, was the third setter, just behind Janusz.
Yeah. I mean, I still think he's not one of the top setters, Janusz, but I still think like he's good for that team.
I still disagree with you on that. I think Janusz is top 5 in the world.
No, Aero. I love the memes of this channel.
Oh my god. Well, thank you guys for
Rob,
watching. That's a show. I think that's a show.
That is the show. Make sure to head over to thatvolleyball.store. Make sure to join the Discord. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to tell us where's Daddy, and we will see you next week.
Go watch it, Zajabash versus Vakif Bank. We're going to be watching it. You should too. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.